Okay, we are live.
All right.
I feel like we're on
This
camera or
week,
something.
So the
defining
discussion
ethics as a group.
this week focuses on defining ethics as a group, exploring how ethics shape leadership, and how ethical behavior is reflected in public leadership.
And as the presidential debate happens tonight,
How timely!
That's funny.
Too funny.
I just got done with an ethics class myself.
I definitely think it's a good topic.
Yeah, I feel like, we've all had our fair share. I think we talked about bad leaders and good leaders, so I'm sure we can all come up with many stories.
Yeah, honestly, ethics is the whole reason I quit Starbucks is because my manager was just not a very ethical leader, so I just couldn't follow her nature knowing how unethical she was. It just drove me nuts. I've learned fast, I can't follow under somebody that's an unethical leader.
Yeah, I agree. That's how my leader, I think, kind of is right now. I mean, just like having, respect even for other people, you can tell blatantly there's no respect given to other people on the team. You can, she's talking bad about people to other employees as a manager, like as her, I guess, follower. She, will talk bad about other employees to me about other people. And it's
like a lot of morals or principles.
Yes. Yeah. No morals, like just no respect for anyone.
Yeah. I feel like those type of people shouldn't even be in a leadership role when they're doing stuff like that, because that's not a good leader.
No, and it really makes you wonder how they got there.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, how do you have your job right now? Because that's not very ethical.
Right, all the time. And just even like standards, like sometimes I think being, I work for Aveda, so that's a very, ethical company. We strive to be, economy and ecologically friendly, and she doesn't follow any of those values, so it blows my mind.
And it's like the whole value of your guys' company. Right. That's crazy.
Yeah, and she just is not a very, I don't know, good example of a leader as far as our company. Maybe, somewhere else, but definitely not in ours.
And it's terrible when they get their followers to start being unethical like them. Like, it's going to start a bad chain throughout the, business, the corporate.
I have a bad attitude now about work when I love the organization, but I can't stand, who I work for.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bad taste in my mouth, which is sad.
Yeah. It makes you not want to go to work because you know what you're going to be facing every day. And it's like you have to choose what to do in that situation. And it's hard because when it is your manager, it's like, well, they're in charge of me, so I can't really say anything. Right. And if I go to somebody above me, who knows if they're even going to do anything.
Right. Or who knows if it'll get back to my actual manager, and then it's like, oh, Taylor tattled on me for.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about that Wells Fargo deal where all of the people who actually did the ethical thing and did the whistleblowing actually were fired.
Yeah.
For doing that. It blew my mind.
Wow.
I think it's supposed to be anonymous, or at least, that there should be some protection against retaliation. But in this case, these folks were fired for telling the truth about a really unethical situation that was happening.
That is crazy. We talked about that at my work because, the credit union is opposite of what those banks are like. And they're so unethical because they're just trying to meet these insane sales goals. So they get so unethical and do what Wells Fargo does, like open checking accounts and credit cards for people that don't even know. And that's so unethical. And it's because they follow their leaders who tell them to do these unethical things. Yep. So I think that it's terrible they got fired for doing the right thing, because I couldn't do it. I would walk away. I couldn't do it at all.
They fired the people. They wind up firing the people that did the wrong thing and put it on as scapegoats because they're low man totem pole, and then they also fire the people that tell the truth about what's going on. So there's really no good way to be in that.
How is that going to make somebody feel comfortable going to somebody when their leaders being unethical, when things like this occur and they're getting fired, or people tell on them that they're the ones that told. It's hard to make them feel comfortable being able to do that.
And I feel like with even like looking at Wells Fargo or really anything like that, it starts like with just that one person. Like it takes one person to do it and get away with it, and then it's like a domino effect where then all of a sudden there's 5,000 people in this company doing, you know, this really unethical thing because they saw their leader do it.
Yeah.
It just takes that first person to get away with it, I think. And then your followers see that, you know, oh, I can do this, so I can get away with it, and then it just spirals out of control.
It is crazy. A leader is supposed to lead in a good role model way, not an unethical way. So it definitely creates the atmosphere of the business, that's for sure, and or anything in a group as well too.
Right.
I know at Boeing we have a whole department of attorneys and ethicists and investigators, and their whole focus is specifically on ethics for the whole organization, and they partner with HR and different business units that they support to assess all kinds of different situations that come up across the enterprise. And then at the end of it, after they've completed their analysis and all of their investigation, they de-identify it. So they take all the names of the people involved in the departments and all of that, and they publish it as a case study for the entire organization. And then they
how cool.
So they reference back like how the situation was handled, how it was identified, how it should have been handled, which policies and procedures apply to it, and the repercussions.
Wow, that's impressive.
So it was kind of like, oh wow, a little overwhelming when you first start there as a new person, especially I was coming from a healthcare organization background, and I thought, oh, we're like the height of ethical discernment. We're having all these conversations about ethical caregiving and treatment, but I came to Boeing and I thought, wow, these folks take this very seriously. There are a lot of implications on a global scale if they have unethical business practices. So
yeah,
nice to see it done the right way.
That's crazy.
I wish I could have something like that. Just to
I
see.
know.
Try it
For
out.
me, it was hard because when I was working underneath my unethical manager, our district manager was really good friends with her. So nobody felt comfortable going to her because she would tell our manager when people would come to her, she'd be like, well, I need to know why your barista is coming to me. This one right here about this. Like, how are we supposed to feel comfortable going to you when, one, you're not listening, two, you're telling our names to the person that's in charge of us, like that can make our life
Putting a
terrible
red
at work. And she did to the people that went to her. So it was terrible because it made the fact that our district manager and our manager were unethical, it just set such a bad mood to not just our Starbucks, but there's actually a lawsuit going on here in San Diego against the Starbucks' managers because they were doing unethical things with our lunches and our timestamps and the way they were treating us. So they actually are in a lawsuit because of it right now too.
Wow, that's crazy. I know that my manager is the complete and total opposite. She is just forthcoming and open, and I you know, when we wrote our papers today, they asked for an example about, you know, something that your leader did that was ethical. And mine did something the other day. She had made a mistake on one of the employees' time cards, and that the difference in pay made a huge difference in his ability to pay his bills that month or that week. And so she took personal responsibility and lent him the money to,
Wow.
you know, to pay his bills, so that, because it was her mistake.
Yeah, that's so cool.
That's such a good example, and it makes you want to work harder for that person.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's such a difference, like a huge difference. When I for my example for the reading, what I did is my manager now, when I first got to the branch, I was learning all the money handling still, and if I had more than $1,000 coming into me, I had to have my manager double count my money and sign off on something. Well, I ended up being out $1,000. I was like missing $1,000 at the end of the night. And after going through everything, it ended up being something that she double counted me on. She signed off on it. I don't know. I still don't know to this day how we both got it wrong. We were able to fix the issue and figure it out, but my manager took full-on responsibility for it, especially because I was under my 30 days, or my 90 days, so I technically could have been fired. if they would have came to see that it was at fault because I wasn't within my 90-day. But she showed me the email and everything, and she told her manager, like, our district manager, like, it's my fault 100%. I was supposed to catch her. I double counted her. I don't know how we missed it, but please don't treat her wrong or get her in trouble, because in reality it's my fault because I was supposed to catch it. She's new. Like, it was incredible. Like, I never seen somebody take such a fall for somebody before.
Dang, that is really nice.
Yeah, she saved my job. Like, I'm glad we caught it, and she's amazing.
Yeah, I had kind of an opposite example. I worked at a salon in college, and long story short, it ended up that our general manager, who had been there for 10 years, like best friends with the owner, they had caught her embezzling money. So, like, stealing cash off the till every day, and it ended up being like almost like $300,000 in like 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So she was, yeah, definitely stealing from the bosses. But I mean, she was my favorite manager. She was very like approachable, very comfortable, but also, you know, not strict in a bad way. But, you know, she laid down the law. She was very smart, obviously. But I mean, it goes to show even the good people, you know,
You think
aren't always ethical. You know, if you're that desperate, and again, it only takes that one time to get away with it, and then you're like, oh, well, I guess I could do it again.
Yeah, that's
It
insane.
becomes like a downward spiral.
I can't even eat a grape that I didn't pay for at the grocery
Right?
store.
I know. I ate a grape. Please let me pay for it.
It was approximately 0.02 pounds.
Yep, I opened a water bottle at the grocery store the other day and felt bad. So amazing how that can happen and nobody knows.
Yeah.
You know, it
So then a part of our question is, how does ethical behavior, how is it reflected in public leadership?
I think people follow leaders, like people with public leadership roles that have this power. Like, if they're doing unethical things that we don't, like, people look up to them. So when they do unethical things, it can make such a big difference. Like, so
An impact on a person.
yeah, like we want to make sure that we're following somebody that is ethical, because when they end up not being ethical, it just kind of throws people off. And, you know, they're supposed to be leaders, so I think it's really important that they are ethical, because there's so many people looking up to them.
It brings us back to the debates tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
It matters. Telling the truth matters.
Yes, it does matter.
And people will follow you. Like if you end up doing this chaotic mess because of, you know, like how you influence people are so influential. So if you're an unethical leader, you could potentially lead people to that way, you know,
Right.
unethically.
You caused a big mess.
I mean, like, look at Hitler. I mean,
Yep. I was just thinking about that example.
I know. I was like, should I say it? Yeah, okay, I'll say it.
That is a good example. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are we
Um,
time-wise?
14, coming up on 14 minutes. So wrap it up shortly here.
Okay.
Very cool. But I really, when going over chapter 11, I really identify with Kant's categorical imperatives, where you should always tell the truth no matter what,
Yeah,
you know,
Me too.
I agree.
and I wish everybody.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I generally agree with that. That's kind of my natural
Mm-hmm.
where I go to, and then I don't know if there are some situations where telling the absolute truth, regardless of consequence, I don't know if it's warranted, but
Right.
generally.
okay, give us an example.
Oh, let me think of an example. Put me on the spot.
We're almost out of time.
Like
Oh, yeah.
telling
There you
kids
go.
that Santa isn't real.
There
Yeah.
you
You
go.
tell the
Okay,
truth.
okay, that's a good one.
Yeah. The Easter Bunny.
All right, girls.
All right.
Thank you, you guys.
Well, everybody enjoy the debates.
Thanks.
Awesome.
And I'll
Okay,
post it.
All
Thank
right. Sounds good. Thanks, Amanda.
All right. Well, and we'll post all to the board later on for our each project.
Okay.
For other okay, perfect, and I'll post on Wednesday.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.